Antarctica is the most mysterious continent on our planet, and the area, the climate is so enormous, and the climatic conditions are so severe that this place is still poorly understood and conceals many mysteries for 200 years now. Scientists, travelers explore the mysterious Antarctica. During this time they learned much about the mysterious continent. In this video on Model T I will talk about 14 incredible finds found in the Antarctica. By the way, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Then be sure to click on the red subscribe button and on the bell next to it so you always keep up to date with new and interesting videos on our channel. Number 1. Loch Ness Monster. From Antarctica, everyone knows the famous, a mystical monster who can inhabit the Scottish Loch Ness Lake, and if by the idea of the existence of the monster most scientists refer to. Skeptical that the huge monster of Antarctica, who lived many years ago, is a proven fact. In 1989, next to Seymour Island, which is located in the paleontologists found fossils in Antarctica of an enormous creature with an incredibly long. They argued for a long time about who belonged to the bones found. To get all the remains from the researchers took, for more than 20 years, they have raised over 800 kilograms of ancient monster bones. It was only after that scientists were able to, should be described, they called it a Loch Ness Kim monster from Antarctica. Turned out to be the biggest eye of the Massa VR by, at least of those found to date. This floating monster was more 10 meters long. Representatives of the genus has been extinct for several dozen million years ago, most likely a diamond. You may have fed on sharks, among other things. This finding suggests that Antarctica used to be inhabited unbelievable creatures and possibly dwells to this day. Number 2. Of the lost Atlantis is beneath the ice of Antarctica. Sounds like this. Of the rather popular versions as to where to look for the ancient mystical city, this hypothesis in the book was expressed by the American scientist Charles Hopcutt. Preface to the publication was written by none other than the famous Albert Einstein. And the up versions. 12,000 years ago there was a shift of the Earth's crust, causing the continent which we call Antarctica today, moved much farther than he did. Was before this event entailed the sharp drop in temperature in the Antarctica, but before the crustal shift, according to a scientist on the continent, was very comfortable climate, and that's where the ancient developed Atlantis civilization, which later was buried under kilometers of ice. Number 3. Giant hole in Antarctica. In 2017, researchers discovered something strange, and pictures of Antarctica from the satellite revealed that this is a huge hole in the glacier. To understand how much it's huge, just imagine 2 Moscow areas combined are precisely. This was the area of the hole found. This is not the first time in history that scientists managed to discover a huge piece of open water surrounded on all sides by the glacier's. Difficult weather conditions in the Antarctica make it almost impossible the study of such unknown holes. Scientists do not fully understand for what reason such a mysterious phenomenon is formed. The mystery of this fact is that of climate change, according to researchers on the unlikely to have the relationship to the formation of giant holes in the glacier. Number 4. Ancient meteorites. Thanks to very cold and dry climate meteorites are perfectly preserved in Antarctica, fallen on the territory for many years back. Plus they are easier to detect because they stand out strongly against the background of the snowy of the landscape. Over the past 50 years, scientists have discovered more than 40,000 meteorites on the Antarctica, and this despite the fact that the continent is enormous and has only been studied. Only a small part of it is huge, the number of meteorites and the bad. The research makes a lot of people believe that if were to be found flying saucers or traces of extraterrestrial life, then of course it will happen in Antarctica. A large number of films and of books on the subject only fuels such interest. However, scientists accustomed to draw conclusions from the facts they conjecture about the K are skeptical about similar conspiracy theories. Number 5. Unexpected creatures under with a kilometer-long layer of ice. As he said, the hero of the movie Jurassic Park, life will always find its way in the dark waters. At a depth of almost a kilometer beneath the stratum of ice can be expected to find a lot of but only not living organisms, because conditions in such a place are not compatible with life. Usually the ice in Antarctica drills geologists to take samples of ice and rocks. However, through the thickness of the ice sometimes there are incredible views. Squid, spiders, toothworms, and absolutely transparent fish is one of discoveries have been made very recently in 2021 in the course of research at depth, nearly a kilometer under the ice. Scientists have found the cobblestone on which were before creatures unknown to science. They are something were similar on the lips is water, organisms that adhere to rocks, and although for the average person, the discoveries of these little creatures does not sound like the big scoop, is still not megalodon and not Bigfoot. Though, if we consider that before that the researchers could not even have imagined the possibility of the life of such creatures under such conditions, what discoveries may await them in the future. Moreover, if such creatures have been able to survive so on, the following are the most important factors in the theoretically, they can go on living. And other planets like Mars. Number 6 Bloody Waterfall is like this. The name was given to the amazing phenomenon. Discovered in Antarctica for over 100 years back, there is no need to be frightened. She is in no way connected with real blood. First, researchers have linked this phenomenon to red algae, but later it has been determined that the cause of what is happening is the microorganisms living in one of the underwater lakes. Thanks to them, the water in this lake is rich in iron oxide. Water seeps out through small cracks in the ice, and we can observe a similar picture. In addition to, scientists discovered pieces of the red glacier of bright green ice. At first it took a long time to understand the real reason of this phenomenon, but then they found a substance that in an amazing way betrayed to the ice a similar OCC. Number 7 Iceberg. Unusual shape. Water and wind can give huge, floating piece of Malta of the most unusual forms. However, the researchers were strongly surprised when we were able to capture with airplane absolutely rectangular piece of ice in Antarctica. A little later, scientists were able to figure out that this rectangular iceberg is just completely has recently broken away from the glacier, and the wind and the water just didn't have time to give it a more natural habitual shape. Number 8 Volcanoes. Despite the cold in Antarctica has several volcanoes, the most famous of which is Erebus. It is the southernmost active volcano on the planet. For the last 50 years, scientists observe this in detail. The volcano in the crater of Erebus is located. Lava Lakes. Erebus volcano is located on the intersection of faults in the Earth's crust and is one of the most active volcanoes. Planets from these faults periodically. There are powerful outbursts of deep-sea gases due to severe weather conditions, and, of the long-range location, scientists cannot to visit it very often. However, during rare expeditions, they were able to discover living organisms that live directly inside the volcano. Number 9 Ice can sing. Sounds crazy if that's the conclusion they came to. Scientists working in Antarctica on there to say it is as if the man played the flute without a break, and he didn't change the notes much. Some of these sounds are hard to hear to the human ear, but the sounds capture special devices. Similar phenomenon is caused by the fact that the plaque is constantly external forces act change temperatures or wind, and that is exactly what makes them make mysterious noises. Number 10 is the oldest ice on the planet. Where he can't get it if he's not in Antarctica. Researchers discovered glaciers there, which are more than 1 million years old. In depth is almost 3 kilometers of ice. Figure, which hardly fits in the head with, considering that the Waldo is great, are preserved, including the living organisms. Then imagine what kind of findings can expect scientists. Number 11 Ice cave. For several years, the NASA specialists found an enormous cave in the glacier. According to their calculations, a cave the size of a large island. Rather, all this gigantic space inside ice has formed over the past few years due to melting. While scientists, it was only possible to explore this cave with the help of radar, but the work is ongoing. Number 12 Detailed lake. For the last 50 years, with the help of radar under the ice of Antarctica, was able to discover about 400 lakes. They are located under the several kilometers thick of ice. It is only now that scientists are having opportunities to truly explore these lakes, and those who are there dwells are microorganisms and creatures who were able to survive under the kilometers ice in the absence of sunlight, and nutritional beings. Number 13, dinosaur remains and others, of ancient beings. As I said before, once upon a time Antarctica was much a warmer continent than today. Around that time there were inhabitants of the great amazing creatures, among of which there were also prehistoric iguanas, dinosaurs, and even dinosaur ancestors. Most recently, researchers have discovered dinosaur ancestor remains in Antarctica, which is more than 250 million years old. This figure that hardly fits in the "you'll agree what else is on your mind" amazing findings will be able to discover. Scientists on the snowy and little explored the continent is left to guess. Number 14, mysterious cosmic phenomena. Antarctica is a great place for scientists studying space and motion, celestial bodies. Many of the cosmic particles detected by the observatory over Antarctica still raises questions. Do not forget to give your likes if you was interested in this video as well. Subscribe to the channel and click on a bell to always be in the know, new videos, and, of course, leave your comments under this clip.